Others are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Cockpit earlier at about 7 a.m. A group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013.
Today on Rappler, dismissed Chief Justice Renato Corona abandons his claim for retirement pay. The Moro Islamic Liberation Front forms the United Bangsamoro Justice Party. And Japan kills 251 Minke whales during the final Antarctic hunt. Hello, I'm Natasha Gutierrez sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Dismissed Chief Justice Renato Corona abandons his claim for retirement pay days before the Supreme Court was scheduled to decide on it. In a letter to the SC en banc dated Monday, Corona said he is withdrawing his earlier request to be granted retirement benefits. Corona previously argued his impeachment does not prevent him from claiming retirement benefits. He was dismissed in 2012 after the Senate found him guilty of violating the Constitution for undeclared wealth. Lawyers estimated his retirement pay would amount to a lump sum of 20 million pesos. The former magistrate currently faces perjury and tax evasion charges. The Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF, is ready to join mainstream politics through its newly formed political party, the United Bangsamoro Justice Party, or UBJP. MILF Vice Chair for Political Affairs Gadzali Jafar says plans to form the party were finalized last year. He says this party is based on justice and is not exclusive. This is open to anybody who wants to join the party. He adds all MILF officials and members will be automatically listed as members of the political party. Jafar says the group is open to possible alliances with other political parties. He adds they will be submitting basic documents to the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commission on Elections. The MILF recently signed a historic peace deal with the Philippine government, which aims to end more than 4 decades of armed conflict and address problems facing the Muslim minority. The peace deal envisions the setting up of a new political entity, the Bangsamoro region. President Benigno Aquino pays tribute to the country's war veterans and soldiers stationed at disputed Ayungin Shoal to mark April 9, Day of Valor. It is also the 72nd anniversary of the fall of Bataan. Aquino says his administration expanded benefits for war veterans. He also assures soldiers in active service the government is allocating 36 billion pesos for the modernization of the armed forces. The president also praises 7 Marines stationed for 5 months at the grounded ship in Ayungin Shoal, which China also claims. Aquino says the soldiers endured nearly zero communication with their families and almost no fresh supplies. He is referring to the constant harassment of Philippine vessels by Chinese Coast Guard ships, bringing supplies to troops in the South China Sea or West Philippine Sea. The ruling on the RH law is a victory for advocates who say it's time issues in women's health are addressed. Church groups have repeatedly criticized the law, saying it promotes abortion. But pro-RH Health Secretary Enrique Ona says that to stop abortion, women need to have accurate information to deal with high-risk pregnancies. A theatrical presentation brings the true stories of Filipino women and the impact of abortion on their lives. The exclusive event gathered local and international delegates of the Asian Pacific Conference on Sexual Health and Reproduction. G. Tanji reports.
Breaking the Silence is a collection of monologues and true stories about Filipino women who have gone through abortion. Its aim, to break the silence and remove the stigma on a taboo topic. Actresses read the stories of Filipino women who openly share their experience of going through the difficult decision of terminating a pregnancy.
Let's start with one simple, incontrovertible fact. Abortion is common in the Philippines.
It's a tragically simple cycle. Abortion laws lead to stigmatization. Stigmatization leads to unsafe abortion. Unsafe abortions lead to blood and pain and sickness.
Women are suffering and dying all around us. And yet, we have done nothing. Afraid to be judged, afraid to act, afraid even to speak.
Likhaan founder Dr. Junis Melgar says it's about time that we discuss abortion.
It is a very historic occasion
For women who are completely denied information and services on abortion, it is very important because women are dying. Families are losing their mothers, and it should not be happening. It should not be happening to half of the population of the Philippines.
A Guttmacher Institute study in 2008 says around 1,000 maternal deaths in the Philippines were caused by abortion complications. Nearly 1/4 of the 2,039 hospitals in the Philippines cited abortion complications as one of the top 10 admissions of patients. Red Tani of the Filipino Freethinkers says breaking the silence does not advocate legalizing abortion.
A lot of women are affected by this issue, not just women, but families. A lot of them have died by induced abortions. Even before legalization, we should start by talking about these issues. We shouldn't just rely on authority and tradition to dictate to us what we should believe or how we should act. We live in a scientific and democratic time.
The reality is, sexually active women aged 15 to 24 increased from 25% in 1998 to 32% in 2008. Among first-time mothers, the number of teenagers increased from 20% in 2000 to 27% in 2010. Reproductive health advocate Carlos Celdran says reproductive health education is the first step to reduce illegal abortions in the Philippines.
If we don't talk about it, it doesn't mean that it's going to go away, right? Ignorance equals death. I mean, this thing is a specter hanging over our head. 11 mothers die a day, as you know, in this country because they have no access to reproductive health or reproductive health options. So education is the first key to empowerment. You empower the mother, you empower the family, and you will empower society.
Kathy Mulville of Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights encourages Filipino women to speak up.
We know that the sort of stats worldwide are something like 1 in 3 women have abortions. Every single woman in the Philippines, I deny any woman to tell me that she does not know a mother, a sister, an auntie, a cousin, a neighbor who hasn't had to have an abortion. Therefore, it touches all our lives. And how can something that touches everybody's lives be the one thing that's not spoken about? We have to change the situation.
Breaking the silence tells women, find your voice and take control of your lives. Jitanji, Rappler, Manila.
On the third day of Oscar Pistorius' murder trial, prosecutors grilled the athlete accused of intentionally killing his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp last year. Pistorius admitted to shooting Steenkamp but claims he thought she was an intruder and only fired at her accidentally. Prosecutor Jerry Nell cross-examines the athlete, telling him, "You made a mistake. You shot and killed her. Say it. I shot and killed Riva Steenkamp." The South African athlete broke down in tears after prosecutors abruptly showed a graphic picture of Steenkamp's head. Pistorius earlier testified about the events of the night Steenkamp died, recounting how her blood ran over him as he picked her up. Japan kills 251 Minke whales during the 2014 Antarctic hunt, in what is expected to be the last one after an international court ruling. Japan's fisheries agency says the number of whales caught is double last year's tally of 103, but smaller than the target of 935. Japan is a signatory to the International Whaling Commission, which bans commercial hunting, but it insists the operation was research. Last week, the United Nations International Court of Justice ruled the program was a commercial hunt disguised as science. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 4, the last outbreak of the Ebola virus in West Africa is regarded by health workers as the most challenging yet. World Health Organization's Keiji Fukuda expresses concern over the spread of the virus from its epicenter to the forests of southern Guinea, which has never had an outbreak before. Ebola leads to hemorrhagic fever, causing muscle pain, vomiting, and in severe cases, organ failure and unstoppable bleeding. Most severe strains have a 90% fatality rate. At number 5, polling stations open for Indonesia's parliamentary elections. It will determine who can run in the presidential polls on July 9. Jakarta Governor Joko Widodo, or Jokowi, is among the front runners. Incumbent President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono is unlikely to be re-elected after a string of corruption scandals. Widodo is expected to be challenged by Prabowo Subianto, who lags far behind in the polls. And at number 10, award-winning novelist Gabriel Garcia Marquez is in a delicate condition. He was hospitalized on March 31 and treated for lung and urinary tract infections. Mexican officials say Marquez had quite severe pneumonic symptoms. Marquez is the author of award-winning novels 100 Years of Solitude and Love in the Time of Cholera. He also won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1982. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. If Manny Pacquiao is going to defeat Timothy Bradley in their Saturday rematch, it's going to be because of what he does in the gym, not in church. That's what Pacquiao's trainer Freddie Roach says when asked about the role religion will play in their return bout. Roach says God doesn't win the fight. God doesn't care who wins the fight. I think the guy who works the hardest will win the fight. We don't need to thank anybody but ourselves for working hard. The best shaped fighter that night will win the fight. Roach admits he's seen some of Pacquiao's killer instincts wane in recent years, beginning around the time he became more involved with religion. Apart from boxing, Pacquiao is also a congressman in Sarangani province. He also leads his own Christian ministry. Bible studies and hymns have become an omnipresent in Pacquiao's training camps as sparring and jumping rope. Once known as the most ruthless, cold-blooded finisher in sport, Pacquiao hasn't scored a knockout since defeating Miguel Cotto in 2009. He hit breaking point in 2012 with his decision loss to Bradley, followed by his 6th-round knockout loss to Juan Manuel Marquez. With Pacquiao nearing the twilight of his career at 35, Roach doesn't want to see him hang on too long. He says, "We'll think about retirement if Pacquiao loses. I don't want him to become a stepping stone. I won't let it happen." Britain's baby Prince George hosts his first ever official function with a group of toddlers in New Zealand Wednesday. The 8-month-old, whose parents Prince William and Kate began a tour of New Zealand on Monday, met 10 local babies at Wellington's Government House at a play session organized by non-profit childcare group Plunkett. Plunkett President Tristine Clark says the babies were all roughly the same age as George and were chosen to reflect the diversity of New Zealand society, including various ethnic groups and a same-sex couple. Not all Kiwis are thrilled. The New Zealand Republic Lobby Group says any of the 10 Kiwi babies would be better qualified as the country's head of state than George, who was third in line to the throne in both Britain and New Zealand. It says baby George is as cute as any other baby, but unfortunately, he cannot be New Zealand's future head of state, not unless he one day migrates to New Zealand and becomes a citizen. For our social media post of the day, move over Grumpy Cat as cowling Prince George is going viral. One of the young British royal's photos from his New Zealand trip with his parents proved so meme-worthy that it spawned a lot of memes, such as this. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the Mood Navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories with the most clicks. Let's check out today's Mood Navigator. Today's Mood Navigator has several different colors. Let's start with this big green one over here to the left. This was yesterday's top story. Philippine Supreme Court says the RH law is constitutional, has 72% of people feeling happy, while 8% are sad. Over to the right, a red circle. Ex-Vice President Noli de Castro says there was no special treatment for Delphine Lee. This has 53% of readers feeling angry, and 19% say they feel happy. And right in the middle, the biggest red circle, is quite an unusual story. 9-month-old baby granted bail for attempted murder case. It's a good read. This has 77% of readers feeling angry, while 10% are annoyed. All these stories contribute to the mood of today. Today, most people are angry. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Wednesday, April 9, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel in our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Natasha Gutierrez. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.